We're live.
Thank you, Connor. Good morning. This is a convening of the Massachusetts Gaming Commission. Today is Thursday, September 11th, 2025. I'll take just a second to say that we remember all those lives lost 24 years ago today. It's approximately 10:05 a.m. We're holding this meeting virtually. It's meeting number 564. So we will do a roll call. Good morning, Commissioner O'Brien.
Good morning, I am here.
Good morning, Commissioner Hill.
Good morning, I'm here.
And good morning, Commissioner Broder.
Good morning.
All right, with that, we're going to turn it right over to you, Commissioner Broder, in your capacity as secretary.
Outstanding. Just give me one sec. Okay. Mr. Chairman, I move that the commission approve the minutes from the following public meetings: January 31st, 2024, January 21st, 2024, and August 15th, 2024.
Second.
I'm getting a date.
I think it's, was it 5/21/24? Was the second
Yeah,
set?
what did I say?
January.
January again.
It's January 31st, 2024, May 21st, 2024, and August 15th, 2024.
Right. With that correction, I would second. I don't know if Commissioner Hale had already seconded earlier.
Nope, that's fine.
We'll take that one. All right, Commissioner O'Brien.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Broder.
Abstain?
And I vote yes. 3 and 1 abstention.
Mr. Chairman, two more. I move that the commission approve the minutes from the following public meetings: July 22nd, 2025, August 4th, 2025, that are included in the agenda packet for today's meeting, subject to any necessary corrections for typographical errors or other non-material matters.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner O'Brien.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Broder.
Yes.
And I vote yes. 4-0. All right. Thank you, Secretary Broder, and thank you to the legal team as always. With that, we're going to turn it over to the legal team. Good morning, Justin.
Good morning, Chair. I'm going to turn this actually right over to Staff Attorney Autumn Borelli to bring back a regulation for final promulgation.
Hi, good morning. Today I'm bringing back 205 CMR 115 for a final vote. If you remember, it was before the commission originally on July 15th of this year. It went through the promulgation process. We had a public hearing for comments on August 26th, and then we received no further comments and have no additional changes proposed, and we're here requesting a final vote for this matter.
I was on mute. Thank you, Counselor. Commissioners, questions for Autumn?
The only question I have, I'm trying to remember, is this the one where we had the conversation about the or the shat, like, were we going to be looking at?
Yes.
Okay, so can you just remind me about that?
Of course. So I spoke at length with the legal team at one of our team meetings about whether that language should be changed or whether that language is superfluous. And ultimately, we decided to keep the language as is, in part because it's the language that was approved by the commission and sent to the LGAC and the Secretary of the Commonwealth. And just some of the language just flows better with that sentence in there. And so we decided to keep it as is for now, and we could revisit it at a later date if there's any concerns.
Do we have any concerns with that, Commissioner O'Brien?
So I guess that was just my question is I thought we had asked to have it assessed for whether we were stripping any discretion from us with the language. So I guess that's just my question. I just want to make sure we're not, unnecessarily stripping any sort of discretion away from us with the language.
No, you wouldn't be. You would be.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't be stripping away discretion. The language already was a shall. It was just because there was a choice between a public hearing
Right,
and
there was the
the
or.
adjudicatory hearing. And as that's being removed to be more consistent, we think the language should be fine and won't be stripping the commission of any discretion.
And just to add into what Autumn's saying here, and I agree with everything she said, Commissioner O'Brien, but I also, the adjudicatory proceeding has been almost I think universally how we've handled the qualifier hearings. And it does actually provide us with more discretion in many ways than the public hearing. If you think about our opportunities to go into private session during an adjudicatory hearing as compared to the more stringent restrictions on going into executive session during a public meeting. So I think we actually have more discretion in many ways with handling these as adjudicatory hearings if moving forward.
Right. I just remember the sort of the debate about when we were changing it the first time to sort of comply and move over to adjudicatory. There was some who wanted the ability, if there was consensus, to sort of go expeditiously by public hearing. So I just wanted to make sure everyone is fine sort of going forward with these adjudicatory as they go forward. I'm fine with it. I do know that sort of past composition of the commission wasn't 100% on board.
I think I said something in effect when we talked about this last time. I never like to shall myself.
Right.
But in this particular instance, I think I'm satisfied. I think I was one of the ones that had a question about it. So I think I'm good with it.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure because it was kind of a contentious chatter the first time, not with you, Autumn, but a couple of years ago when we did this.
Okay, with that, any other discussion?
No, we ready for a motion or?
Ready for a motion when
Yeah.
everyone else is?
I move that the commission approve the amended small business impact statement in the draft of 205 CMR 115, specifically 205 CMR 115.04, as included in the commissioner's packet and discussed here today. And further, that staff be authorized to take the steps necessary to file the required documentation with the Secretary of the Commonwealth to finalize the regulation promulgation process.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner O'Brien,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Broder,
Yes.
and I vote yes 4-0. Thank you, Autumn.
Thank you.
Anything else for the legal team? Counselor Stimpett.
That's it today, Chair.
All right. With that, we are going to move to item number 4, and we have our Director of Racing and Chief Veterinarian, Dr. Lightbound. Good morning. You are also on mute this morning, Dr. Lightbound, which I did earlier. So it's contagious.
Sorry about that. Thank you. So the item we have on the schedule for today is Plain Ridge's request to reschedule 2 canceled days of June 21st and July 29th. That was due to the extreme heat and humidity. They'd like to reschedule them to September 26th and November 26th. I did have the wrong date, unfortunately, in the first memo. We've sent a second one into Grace. So just to be clear, it's September 26th and November 26th that we'd like to move those to. My recommendation is to approve this request. Steve O'Toole is on the meeting if there's any questions.
Thank you. I see Commissioner Hill has his mute off.
I have no questions, Mr. Chairman. I'm ready to make a motion. We did have the conversation, Commissioner O'Brien and I, during our update with Dr. Lightbaum, and we feel comfortable that this is a good thing to move forward with.
Can I ask about, is there really going to, how late do we take races? November 26th is pretty cold up here.
Yep, that's the day before Thanksgiving. And so we don't race on Thanksgiving, but we do our schedule to race that Friday after Thanksgiving, and that's our last day.
That's the only question I have, Commissioner Hill. Thank you, Dr. Lightbound.
And usually pretty busy, Steve, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Usually,
We often get new license applications the last week of racing. People who
Yeah.
want to get races in right before the end of the meet.
we usually race on that Wednesday. We usually schedule that Wednesday. This year we tried to make it a little bit longer, Thanksgiving holiday, with the idea that if we did suffer any cancellations, there was an open day there that we could fill.
So, Mr. Chairman, I move that the commission approve Plain Ridge Park Casino's request to reschedule the racing days previously scheduled for June 24th, 2025 and July 29, 2025 to September 26th and November 26th of 2025, as included in the commissioner's packet and discussed here today.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner O'Brien,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Broder,
Yes.
and I vote yes 4-0.
Thank you, commissioners.
Okay. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Dr. Lightbound. Anything else?
Oh, that's it for racing. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to go to the division chief for sports wagering, Carrie Teresi. Good morning, Carrie.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. I'm going to turn it over to Compliance and Operations Manager Lamb to address this catalog update.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. If you look to page 55 of your packet, our division is revisiting the suspension of the Chinese Football Association from the Commission's event catalog. The CFA was suspended in September 2024, and the final determination would need to be made at the conclusion of an independent investigation. That investigation concluded in May of this past year. And while there are no new issues identified, the report confirmed the vast integrity concerns raised by the sports wagering division. Therefore, based on the confirmed integrity concerns within the league and in alignment with our previous memo on September 12th of 2024, we are recommending a permanent removal of the CFA from the Commission's event catalog. Chair?
All right, I remember this conversation and I got thinking about it when we had it. We should have probably put some authorization in that motion for you to move forward with this, but I'm glad you brought it back. Commissioners, any questions? I'll just say I support the recommendation.
Same.
Motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the commission amend the official catalog of events and wages to remove the Chinese Football Association, including but not limited to all tiers of its men's and women's Chinese leagues, Chinese FA Cup, and the Chinese national team, as included in the commissioner's packet and discussed here today.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner O'Brien,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Broder,
Yes.
and I vote yes 4-0. All right. Thank you, Tom, for that. Anything else, Chief Teresi?
That's all from sports wagering today. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, we're now going to turn it over to item number 6, which is Chief Delaney from the Community Affairs Division. Good morning, Chief Delaney.
Morning. Thank you, Chair, Commissioners. So today we're going to be continuing our discussion that we started back in August on the distribution of the community mitigation funds for fiscal year 2027. And so I gave you all a new memo yesterday that reflected some recent information that we got on how much money we have to distribute. So I'm working off of that memo. I don't know if that made it into the packet or not. I don't think it did, since it was fairly late yesterday. So right now we're estimating that we have about $5 million to distribute in fiscal year 2027. And that's about 25% of the amount that we budgeted for fiscal year 2026. So clearly there's going to be some significant reductions in grant amounts. So what we're looking for here is some input from the commission, some guidance from the commission on how we want to distribute these funds, and we need that in order to prepare the guidelines for fiscal year 2027. So we've done is we've kind of distilled this all down into 4 major questions, and I thought what we would do is go through each question and then get sort of try to get a consensus from the commission on what way we should go on that question. Then we can move on to the following questions. So the first one is, how should the funds be distributed among the regions? So last year, about 66% went to Region A, 30% to Region B, 4% to the Category 2 area. You could certainly carry those percentages forward into 2027. If you did do that, we would have about 3.3 million available for Region A, 1.5 million for Region B, and 200,000 for the Category 2 area. You also could, if you wanted, redistribute these funds. There were some comments that suggested, since these funds were generated from Region A, that the funds should remain in Region A. I don't see there being a really compelling reason to do that. This is happening at no fault of the communities or the casinos or anybody that's involved in this. It's just what the reality is. So I think the simplest thing to do would be to carry those percentages forward into 2027. So I guess what are some thoughts on that from the commission?
Commissioners, thoughts?
Oh, I have thoughts if you want me to start the conversation, but I see Commissioner O'Brien reaching for her button as well.
No,
So
you beat me to it. I'm happy to defer.
No, go ahead. I've been hogging up the meeting today.
Oh, not really. And I shared this sort of when I was briefed on this too, is I don't love the idea of blocking anybody from applying. You never know where the good idea is going to come from. So I would be open to the concept of indicating priorities so people have a sense, but I'm not a fan of telling someone who is otherwise eligible to apply that they can't apply.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Hill. I'm bracing
So-
myself, Commissioner Hill. You look so excited about what you're going
No.
to say.
No, not at all. There's been a lot of conversations going back and forth about this, and it's a program that we all love. And I think we're all, disappointed in some form or fashion on what's happened over the last couple of years to the program. But as I told Joe and others, I feel strongly that we should just keep the program just the way it is, with the money the way it is. And whatever we have is what we have. We put it into the formulas that we have put together, that Joe has put together, and Mary and others, and we just move forward with what we have. I'm not for prioritizing it at this point either. We set up a program. It's worked, I think, relatively well, and I don't see any reason to change anything about the program. We take the money we have, we put it into the formula, and however, no pun intended, the chips fall, the chips will fall.
Okay, Commissioner Broder.
I'm not sure if this is going to be helpful, because it's not going to be a good operational direction. Yes, everyone, I do think everyone should be able to apply, and I assume what this exercise is about, as much as anything else, is setting expectations, right? So as our partners that receive these monies are trying to figure out what their asks are going to be. They just want a good a sense as possible about what the landscape's going to be. And to that extent, I have a lot of respect or sympathy for what Commissioner Hill just said. There is some value to the predictability. My only concern that I've voiced before is that with the funds being so limited, I worry about the de minimis ask. Folks thinking, well, I have to ask, and I'll take 10 grand towards a $150,000 project because that's what we do. I want to essentially reserve the right to reject de minimis requests like that. I think, Mr. Chairman, I think you used the phrase in our previous discussion, highest and best use of the funds. And if we were starting from scratch, that's what I would want to see as, kind of the number one principle guiding where these funds go. And it is a little bit of a different scenario. Now, how to operationalize highest and best use, I honestly haven't quite figured out yet. So I'm in listening mode at this point.
Thank you. I think I will echo pretty much the heart of everything that each commissioner just said, which is set expectations for our former awardees that there's less money available, A. B, we're going to try to be equitable. And I hear some equity coming out from everyone in however we do put out the money. We understand there's going to be some hurt feelings, but my grandfather in Eastern Kentucky used to say, you can't draw blood from a turnip. And so if there's less money, there's less money. I think the highest and best use in the conversation about the program, if the money is redeposited, which is a possibility given the way the legislation's been written over the last 2 years, I think I as chair would want to put together a working group if that money is ever deposited back to look at how we can move forward in a different way going forward, but that's not where we are today. Yeah, I think using kind of the guidelines that we have today, but also looking for the best projects and the ability to reject some projects is probably the best way to move forward. Is that a fair recap of what we all said?
So I guess what I do need those is, with respect to each of the questions in the memo, I'd like to get some consensus on the commission on how we should proceed with those particulars. I mean, to write the guidelines, I have to have some, I have to know how much money is going to go to region A, region B, region C, so I can punch that into the formula. So, I mean, am I hearing that we want to keep with the percentages the distribution percentages that we used last year in fiscal year 2027 for
Yes.
the distribution among the regions?
Yeah, you're hearing yes on question 1.
And then on question 2, we talked about, the amount the split between the municipals and the regional agencies. Again, we could use the same splits we used last year, which I think is fine. And you'll see in the memo that, the regions, the splits were different in each region due to the particular peculiarities of each region. So we could do it that way. We could try to you could put more to municipalities and less to regionals and so on. Again, I think the easiest thing is to use the percentages that we had in fiscal year 2026.
That's what I would envision.
Okay. Is that what I'm
Let's say
hearing?
this.
Go ahead.
Yeah, real briefly, if we could, maybe it's too much nuance here, but I'm wondering if the word anticipate would be helpful. The commission anticipates allocating in this fashion, just to give ourselves that little bit of wiggle room that I really in practice we already have. So that, again, as Commissioner O'Brien said, if there is an outstanding project that comes from that might bust up the formula a little bit, I just want to leave us enough room to award those funds rather than say, well, you've asked for 20 and we've got you in for 13.5, so we're capping you at 13.5 if the circumstances warrant.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not
Commissioner-
making it too complicated.
Commissioner, I think one of my plans in crafting the guidelines is to put some language in right up front. There is language already in the guidelines that says the commission has discretion to do a lot of different things. But my thought was I would pull that right up front saying that, that any awards are at the discretion of the commission, and the money can be awarded, not awarded, a partial award. It's really at your discretion. And I'll try to put that language right up front that allows that. And,
Yeah, it's a great idea.
it gives sort of the wiggle room that we feel is necessary in order to get the best projects.
Awesome.
I support that.
I'm very comfortable with that.
Okay. And so that's with respect to that second question, then I think I'm hearing that we'll keep the percentages for that the same as actually one suggestion I would make, when I ran the numbers, if we kept the percentages the same, like Region A would get 363,000 for the regional agencies, Region B is 390, Category 2 is 66. I was thinking Region A and Region B, we might just make those the same number, kind of split the difference, call it like 375, just makes the numbers easier particularly with the regional agencies. If we're saying, each agency can get a certain amount of money, it's, it doesn't really affect the calculation by a whole lot.
I can start the conversation for questions 3 and 4, Mr. Chairman, if we'd like. I don't see us making any changes to 3 or 4. I don't know how other people feel about that.
So yeah, so question 3 talks about making any changes to municipal eligibility. I think our discussion the last time, I didn't hear a whole lot of appetite for that. We did have, and the reason we bring it up is because we did get comments from the LCMACs regarding that. Certainly the Region A expressed eliminating communities from eligibility. Region B did not. So we just bring that to the commission because there was really sort of a difference of opinion between the LCMACs.
Equitable. We got to try to be equitable. We get what they're coming from, but no, I agree with you, Commissioner Hill. I would say that as to question, this probably drives Joe insane. We're talking about question 3 and 4 together, Joe. You just gotta handle it. I know your engineering brain is probably not enjoying that, but but
It's freaking me out, honestly.
It is related, though. It's related to us as commissioners. I would say that on the regional agency piece, and I told you this, Joe, I would expect that we're going to prioritize municipalities with this last tranche of money here, is my guess. So even if we don't change the guidelines, I bet when we go to award, we're going to focus on the municipalities, given the situation that's going on.
Agreed.
Okay, so I think with municipalities, we're saying that we don't want to eliminate any municipalities from consideration. All the ones that are currently eligible would remain eligible, and we would put them into the formula, and we will come up with a dollar value that goes to each community as we have in the past. So then the last question on the changes to regional agency eligibility, there's a few options here. One is we can just put out the same amounts that we did, or the same percentage to the different agencies as we did last year. What that would do is, in each of the categories, or most of the categories for the regional agency grants, we put caps on them. For instance, the workforce cap was 750,000. If we carried the forward, basically everybody's now getting about 25% of what they got last year. That would mean the regional agency, regional workforce grants would be reduced from 750 to 187.5. Regional planning grants would drop from 250 to 62.5. Public safety grants from 100 to 25,000, and so on. So we could certainly do that, and say we'd be saying to these entities, this is the maximum amount that you can come in for. So the DAs would go from $100,000 to 25,000. Now, a couple of the other options are, if there are areas that are of higher priority to the commission, you could eliminate some of those that are lower priority, and just say that, so you get more bang for the buck for the ones that are higher priority. And the other thing that you could do is sort of rate what the highest priorities are. Where, if you're saying that you think workforce is the highest priority, we could put that in. If public safety is the second highest, we could do that, and so on and so forth, so that we can give people some expectation of where the funds might be going. That way you could give, sort of higher amounts to the higher priorities. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Commissioner Broder, I see your mute's off.
Not intentionally, but I think this gets tricky, right? Because the employment economy, let's say, seems to be getting softer. I haven't seen Massachusetts numbers, but I have seen national numbers, and the trends don't look very good. I do think we get a great return on investment for workforce, and I think it's super important to make that a sustainable investment. A lot of those agencies, they're not exactly hand to mouth, but they need a sustainable product going forward. So that's my personal priority. But again, I would want to balance that against, that doesn't mean, you give folks money just to give them money. We still want that relevant, because all the money has been well spent, but workforce would be my priority. I'm not sure if that is something everyone shares, or something that should be explicitly spelled out in the guidelines or not. That might be on a something in my own head is a part of how I evaluate on a case-by-case or proposal-by-proposal basis.
I amen corner here, workforce development, and then going back to the statute, public safety, which is kind of what Joe just said to kick it off. But workforce development, public safety has to be the priority given the limited resources this year, in my opinion. Commissioner O'Brien's also in that corner, and Commissioner Hill.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so and I know Commissioner Hill, I think you're saying just do it exactly the same as last year was your suggestion. So I guess the question is, do we want to sort of, we could put some limits on the different types of grants that could be, if everyone came in for a grant, would add up to more money than we have available. So what we could do is then, if we got applications from different categories that added up to more than the amount of money we had available, we would then have to prioritize and saying, all right, this gets it, that gets it, and so on. So I think if that's the case, if we're trying to say that we want, let's say for an example, if we're putting $375,000 towards the regional agency grants in region A and B, we could say that we want to have 300,000 go towards workforce grants, and then we want 75,000 to go to public safety grants, and then we could still say we want 75,000 to go to regional planning grants and so on, and then 75,000 to specific impact grants, whatever it is. If everyone came in, that would add up to more than the amount of money we have available. And at that point, we would have to say, all right, the lowest priority one, you don't get the money this year, or we could give a haircut to some and give some money to others. So what I think I could do is in the guidelines, in the draft guidelines, in this section, is do sort of a two-part approach. Show what the impact would be if we just divvied up the money as we did last year, and how much each agency would get. And then the other thing we could do is I could write up some language that would prioritize certain things and set a priority level for each of the grant categories. So at least the commissioners can look at that and saying, well, we have these sort of two options that we can go with. And if the answers don't go with option A, we'll do that. If the answers go with option B, we could do that.
Fine.
Commissioners, what are we thinking here?
I don't know if we need paragraph, I don't know if we need part A of that, the what we've done in the past. It's gonna be a little bit nuanced, given, the amount of resources available, the commission anticipates, or the commission has set as its highest priorities, workforce development and public safety. Again, not telling anyone they can't apply, but sending a message that, this is the reality on the ground in terms of your likelihood of success.
And I'll give you an example. I mean, what could happen if for whatever reason, we were giving out a public safety grant and in the past and they don't come in for one, that might mean that a regional planning grant could be awarded if the money was available. Okay, yeah, so I can just write it up that way then, just saying this is sort of what our priorities are, and this is how much money is available. And that, and I guess what I'll do is I will put some target dollars on these things, just saying, this is sort of the maximum that you can apply for. I don't want to say to the workforce grants that you can still apply for $750,000 when there's only going to be $375,000. It doesn't make any sense. So I think we have to put some reasonable caps on those and see where that takes us, and then we can, if we think those caps make sense, we can go with them. If we think they don't make sense, we can sort of rejigger them a little bit to make some modifications if we think they're necessary.
Yeah, I think that's part of the issue, right, Joe, is that we're kind of we're anticipating something that hasn't happened yet, right? We're thinking about projects that haven't hit us yet. What I will say is, for you and Mary, who worked very hard on this may be the year where there's more gatekeeping on the back end than the front end, right? So the guidelines may be a little less rigid than they've been in the past, because the gatekeeping may have to be once we see the projects and what the commission does on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, I think I've got my marching orders. So just the next steps, I expect to have a draft of the guidelines by in the next week and a half or so. We are going to distribute those to the local community mitigation advisory committees first, and we'll get their input on those. We're having LCMAC meetings on September 30th. And then we come back to the commission first meeting in October, whatever that date is. I don't have that date right now. And if you okay those, we will put them out to public comment for a couple weeks, and then probably be back in front of you on the first meeting in November to do final approval of the guidelines, and then we hit the street. So that's the plan.
So thank you, Chief Delaney. I will take this time to again say that make sure you check in with Commissioner Skinner too when she's available. I know that she'll want to weigh in on this. And thank you for your hard work on this. Again, jobs, workforce training, and public safety.
Yep.
That's what we're going to prioritize.
Okay, well, thank you for the input on that. So the next item that we have up is some repurposing of some grant funds for the city of Boston. They're requesting some grant funds from 2022 and 2023 to be moved to their 2025 grant to help fund a law enforcement program coordinator. So this program coordinator was included in their FY 2025 application. And the purpose of this person is to try to work with Everett and the casino and the state police and so on to try to come up with some MOUs on the role that Boston can help play in working on issues associated with the casino. They've been trying to hire this person for over a year. Initially, they were getting no takers at all because of the salary. They have since found someone who is willing to take on the position, and they've come up with a salary. So that salary has been increased essentially in order to be able to fund it. So the total cost of the salary plus fringe benefits went from 71.9 up to 110, almost 111. What they're asking is there's some money left over from in the 2022 grant, a small amount from that, and a larger amount from the 2023 grant to be moved to 2025 to help fund that position. This is a high priority for the police department, and this will allow them to move forward with the hiring. They have also asked for money in the fiscal year 2026 grant and so on. So this is something that they certainly want to have as an ongoing thing. So this coordinator position was approved by the commission as part of the block grant, and we agree that it's important, and transferring these funds will allow them to move forward. This will also help us close out a couple of old grants that we would like to get off the books as well. Or I should say that Mary would like to get off the books as well. So therefore, we do recommend the request.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Broder.
given the discussion we just had about our prioritization of public safety, I am prepared to make a motion.
I'm ready.
I move that the commission approve modification of the City of Boston's 2022 Public Safety Grant and the 2023 Public Safety Grant by authorizing reallocation and transfer of funds in the amount of $3,017.35 and $42,533.14 respectively, for a total of $45,550.49 for funding the full-time law enforcement program coordinator position within the city's fiscal year 25 block grant application, as included in the commissioner's packet and discussed here today.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. I'll let the secretary figure that one out. All right.
I think Commissioner Hill beat me on that one.
Yeah, I think he got you. Commissioner O'Brien,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Broder,
Yes.
and I vote yes 4-0.
And that is it for us from Community Affairs. And I think we might have set a land speed record for a commission meeting.
I think it helps when you have 3 commission meetings in a 7-day period. Or
And it's
whatever.
not over yet.
Yeah, and it's not over yet. Yeah, 3 commission meetings in a very short period. And I want to thank the staff for preparing us for all of these commission meetings. We oftentimes forget to say that. We have time to say it today. We know it takes a lot of preparation to get us to these points. And so thank you, Edie Serpa, Councilor Stempik, and to the entire team here at the MGC for doing that. With that, thank you, Chief Delaney, again, and thank you, Mary. Commissioner updates. Any other business that we did not reasonably anticipate? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner O'Brien,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Broder,
Yes.
and I vote yes 4-0. Everyone enjoy your Thursday.